We're going to talk about the top and using forms and creating shadow with forms. So I have a box of forms, of white forms here, that we're going to also use a light for. So the idea of the light is just to emphasize the shadows a little bit more so they're easier to see. So I'm going to back this up just a little bit here, clean my work here so you can see. Bring it down. All right. So we're going to also use one of these lights. I have about 3 of them. What you're going to have to do is rotate with the class because I only have 3. Some of you will maybe be working on the bottom here while some of you are working on the 2 forms. With the light, they're just touch lights. There's 3 different levels. There's dim, medium, and high. Definitely have it on high. It works much better, easier to see. Also, what you can also do is have the lights turned off in the classroom and you definitely can see the shadows a lot more defined and easier to draw. I'm going to turn off my lights here. So we can see our emphasis of the shadow. Okay, so, and we're going to do this in pencil first because we can always go back and go over it with pen when we are done. That way, just in case you make a mistake, you can always erase it. So we're going to start with this cylinder here. And what you will notice is the light is coming from above and from the right of me. So the top is going to be like the lightest part. Then this side is going to be the second lightest part, so medium or pretty light. In the middle of your form here, medium gray. And the back side is going to be darker, so a darker value. Plus, what I want you to also notice is the cast shadow here on the table. I also want you to draw that as well. This is the darkest point. So this should be number 5 in your value scale. So when we draw this, because we're not looking at from the top, it's not going to be a circle that you're going to draw on your paper. It's going to be more of an oval shaped. And that is a really intense light there. So up top here, again, I'm going to use a pen so you can actually see, so it shows up and you can see what I'm doing. We're going to draw oval first, so the top of our cylinder. From the very edges of the oval, we're going to draw lines down to create the sides. And this bottom part isn't straight across. It's actually the same curve that we have right here. And the reason why we don't draw the same oval on the bottom here is because our cylinder isn't see-through. If it was see-through, then I would draw the same type of oval down here as well to create matching. Okay, so from there, we need to add our shadows. And we're going to add shadows using one of these 3, stippling, hatching, or cross-hatching. You can use both of them, or 2 of them, or even 3 of them if you would like. So at the top here, because it's the lightest part of the form, I'm going to use stippling and just create and put in a few dots at the top. It's a little bit hard to see because it's the lightest part. Then here on the side, I could do stippling again, but I'm going to go to hatching. And we want to actually curve our hatching lines to make our form look more 3D. So this curve is going to be the same curve that I have here. So these would be considered hatching lines. Okay, and they're kind of spread out right now. I can do some all the way across to create this light version of the value across the shape. Then I have my medium, and then I need to get even darker value on the very side. So I'm just going to add a couple more shorter ones going the same direction in the same curve, but in between the ones I already have. Okay, so you'll see this is the dark side that has more shadow to it. Here's the medium in the middle and the lighter on the other side where the light's hitting it again, because our light is coming from this direction. Okay, so I'm going to kind of zoom in just a little bit here so you can see how I ended up. So our light's coming this direction. So this side of the form is going to be lighter than this side. So I also have to do the cast shadow that was on the table as well. Okay, so if we kind of see, it's a little bit hard to see, but we have a cast shadow coming in right here on the table. Again, we can use hatching, stippling, or cross hatching. Again, we could use all three. So if I wanted to use all three, I could go in and now do cross hatching to fill this in. And this is going to be the darkest part of our form. So we want our lines close together and lots of them. So now you can see dark, darkest, dark, medium, light. That creates a nice shadow and creates our form to show up. Okay, once you have one done, you're going to want to take one other form, whether it's the sphere or pyramid or whatever, and do one more next to that one. So you'll end up doing two different forms, and in pencil first. So if we look at this pyramid here, I'll bring this down so you can see it just a little bit better. This one doesn't have as much of a cast shadow. It's a little bit harder to see. There's maybe just a little one right here. But you'll notice that one of these sides is clearly darker and more shadowed than the other. You want to make sure that it shows that on your paper as well. What I like to start off with first is kind of a spread out V. And then I'm going to bring each one of these corners up to touch in the middle. Okay? And then my little small, really teeny tiny cast shadow is something right about here, is what we've noticed. So then what you're going to want to do, again, pick one of these three, or maybe you want to use all three like we did here. This is the lighter side, the lightest side, so again I could use stippling or I could use hatching. Put a few dots on there. I'll move my light out of the way so you can see a little bit better. Then this side is darker, so I can either again add more stippling, so something like one of these two boxes, or I can add hatching lines, and these are just going to be straight because this form has flat edges, where these were curved because it had curved edges. This was a round object versus a flat-ended object. Okay, so we have light, medium, and then remember our cast shadow, which is on the table, is always the darkest. Mini lines close together next to each other. So then again, we're creating that nice form illusion that it's popping out from the paper. When you're done with pencil, you can go over this with pen and ink and just trace right over top of your lines. When you're done with pencil, I'd like you to pass on your form and your lights, just because I only have 3 of them. So we want to keep them going. This whole project right here is going to be worth 25 points. Each one of these columns is going to be 5, one for each box, so 15 at the bottom. 5 for each form. So a total of 25 points. Good luck.